So we're learning about dividing decimals today. So we want to be able to divide decimals up to the thousandths place. Okay. So will you read this first one for me, and then I'll take the second one for you?
Which one?
What?
Which one?
The first paragraph.
Scrapbooks, drawing, drawings.
Mm-hmm.
Letters?
Letters.
Letters, books, homework, assignments, origin.
Origami. That's a weird word. It's Japanese.
And much more. They all use paper. Paper can be found in a wide
Variety
of paper. Very greatly
Hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your stuff.
Quality.
Strength, and texture.
Mm-hmm. Good job. Paper is made from wood, rags, or grasses. The fibers are separated and moistened, which means they got it wet. It's moist. To make pulp. The pulp is filtered on screens to form sheets, which are pressed, compacted, and left to dry. Sometimes they are coated or modified with other substances. And then use the third one.
This test, you will find out if there is enough paper stack to provide each student with 3 pieces.
Good job. Okay, in this lesson, what are the objectives? What are we trying to do? Divide decimals. Good job. Why do we need to learn about dividing decimals?
Because
All right. Okay, for dividing decimals, let's go through the activities. So, I'll read the first one, you read the second one. Transportation and tickets for 12 friends to an amusement park cost $364.20. How much will each person pay?
You are looking for the side of equal groups, so divide, estimate first, so you will know if your answer is reasonable.
And we've done that before, where we estimated, right? We did that when I was here on Wednesday. We estimated when we were doing addition and subtraction, so we knew that if our answer was at least close. So there's 3 ways to show division. We can either put a division sign, we can put it inside this box, or we can make it write it as a fraction. So let's practice what we've learned. Where's your notebook? Right here. And where's your pencil? Where's your pencil to write with?
Oh, I left the Miss Carter room.
Okay, I'll run and grab one. Okay. Alright, so what's the first step to doing this problem? $255.5. Good job. So what's the first step when we divide? Good job. And then 45, and how many times does 7 go into 45?
6.
What's 7 times 6? 42. Mm-hmm. And Chris, you don't even need me.
Any questions about it?
Okay. Good job. So you have 365, but the answer or the question was 255.5 divided by 7. So what do you do with the decimal? You bring it up. Why did you bring it up?
Because it's right there.
So you just kept it lined up with the place values?
Yeah.
Good job. You're awesome, Cruz. Okay. One way to think about dividing decimals is to break the dividend into equal groups. So look at this model right here, and it shows 0.8 or 8/10 divided by 0.2 or 2/10. How many groups of 0.2 are in 0.8? So if we circle the groups of 0.2, how many are there?
8.
So there's 8/10, but we need to see how many groups of 2/10 are in 8/10. So let's circle them. Right here, we take it and we circle one section. Those two are 2/10. 4. So if we continue to do that, we'll have 4 before the 8/10 is done. All right. Now, let's look at the quotients for the 3 division problems. So there's 3 division problems here. One is 8/10 divided by 2/10, and the answer we just decided was what?
4.
Okay. But if we multiply both the dividend and the divisor, which one's the dividend?
8.
The 8, and the divisor is the smaller number, right? So if we multiply both of those by 10, what's the answer gonna be? If we do 8 divided by 2, what? 4. Okay, well, what if we multiply them by 100? What's 80 divided by 20?
4.
But, so the answer, does it stay the same? Does it change?
Stays the same.
Why do you think it stays the same? Okay, if we're looking for the number of groups, so if we multiplied just the 8 or the 8/10 by 10, do you think it would change? What would the answer be? 8 divided by 0.2.
4.
8 divided by 0.2. So if it looks,
So it would be 0.4.
it wouldn't be 0.4. You're close though. We would move the decimal place where?
Behind it.
And if we move the decimal place behind 4, then what's that answer?
4.8.
So if we move it back, it's going to be 40. So if we multiply just one of them, then it changes it. But if we multiply both of them by the same, then it's going to stay the same. Does that make sense? Because you're just making each of those groups bigger. You're not changing the number of groups that there are. Does that make sense? All right, this next one. Study the example of how to multiply both the dividend and the divisor by 10 when dividing 6 and 48/100 by 2/10. So the easiest way when we are dividing something with a decimal out here is to do what? What could we do?
Right. So 64.8.
Exactly. So instead of 0.2 divided by, 6.48 divided by 0.2, we can move this decimal place over 1 and this decimal place over 1. And then what's our problem going to be? Wait, no, we're rewriting the problem. Sorry, I should have been more clear with that. So if we rewrite this problem, what's it going to look like? If we've moved this decimal place over 1 and this decimal place over 1. It's going to be 2 on the outside and 64.8 on the inside. Why can we do that? Why is this problem and this problem the same?
Because we just moved that there, and now we just moved that.
Which is the same as multiplying it by what?
2.
2? If we move the decimal place over 1, that's the same as multiplying it by what? 9? You're close.
8. 10.
10. So if we multiply them by 10, just like we were talking about earlier, if we multiply both of them by 10, which is what we did here, then it gets us the same answer, but we only have to deal with 1 decimal on the inside, right? Which, is that easier? So why do you think we would do that? Why would you want to divide 64.8 by 2 instead of 6.48 divided by 0.2?
I don't know.
Give me your best guess. Before, when we were doing this one, what did you do with the decimal right here?
Put it up with the other one.
You just moved it up. But if we just move this decimal up, is it going to give us the right answer?
Yeah.
It would give us the right answer in this one, but there's a decimal on the outside.
So it won't give us the right answer.
It won't give us the right answer because if there's a decimal on the outside, we can't just move the decimal up. Okay? Alright. So, sorry, let me grab this real quick. Let's click through this.
I don't have to watch the
There we go. Okay. So, now, let's read this problem. You have $2.75. You want to buy trading cards that cost 25 cents each. How many can you buy? What do you think we're going to do in this problem? How do you set that up?
Do you divide it or?
Yeah. Why do you think we would divide it? Why do you think that we would divide in this problem?
For we can see how many they buy. The trading card costs 25 each.
Yeah, we're trying to see how many groups of 25 cents are in $2.75. So now what can we do with this decimal since we're dividing by a decimal?
Move that back here.
How many decimal places is that?
2.
Okay, so then what would we do on the inside? Oh, look at you, you've already got it. So let's rewrite that. Alright, now what's the next step?
Divide it.
So it's the first step of when we're dividing, long division.
That we just put 1. 2.
So we're going to put 1 because it can go into 27 one time. Wait. You're on the right track. Except we're dividing 25. We're dividing by 25. We're not dividing by 2.
Mm.
So 25 can go into 2 how many times?
1.
25 can go into 2 one time?
Oh, 1 to 2?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. What about 27? We'll go to the next number.
1.
Mm-hmm. There you go. And then 25 can go into 25 how many times?
1.
Mm-hmm. And what's our remainder going to be?
1.
This is a 5.
100.
It's 275, not 276. There we go.
Yeah, well, I figured out that stem and leaf thing.
Wait. Hold on. No. You're doing awesome. You were on the right track. But the only thing that changes is instead of bringing down a 1 or a 6, we're going to bring down a 5 right there. Sorry, I confused you when I talked about that. So what? There we go. So if you brought down a 5, and this is 25, how many times does 25 go into 25?
1.
Okay, so where do we write the 1? Good job.
0.
0. There we go. So now what do we do with the decimal?
3.
Good job. You did awesome, Cruz. Okay, now let's do this one. We'll do this last problem, and then we'll go on to a quiz to see if we can figure out how to do it, okay?
So here's your stem and leaf, right? So all you have to do, and you would use this apparently, like people use it when they are keeping score.
Good job. So what is your first step going to be?
Makes it easier apparently.
Mm.
Anyway, so 0
That
would mean
there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, why would you move the decimal over?
0, 1,
Mm.
and 8, so you'd know if you look at the scoreboard.
There you go.
one of the scores was 2,
2.
one was 8. And there's no
Divided.
2s, there's
Mhm.
Minus that.
So we're not dividing by a decimal.
3,
We'll be dividing by a whole number. So now what's your problem going to be?
It's just gonna be 4.
4,
Mm-hmm. It's going to be 4.
2, 1
And
and 2.
what's the divisor?
That's just how it went.
Mm-hmm.
5.
You're doing awesome, Cruz.
2 and 3.
Now
I
what's your
guess
first
this
step
makes
in regular long
Easier
division?
to look at if there's a whole bunch of numbers. You get it, right? We just could not understand
I've never done that before. I think I've done it once in high school, but not.
What are you trying to figure out?
Well, I've never even heard this, so what
What
would you
goes
do,
to,
what would you do
what's
next?
4
on
go
that?
to? 29.
How many times can 4 go to
What
29?
would you do with
All
not
right.
seeing these numbers up here?
What about
What number
5.
would you put down?
5?
next
What's
after
4
this?
times 5?
20.
6.
Can we fit
And
another
then
4
what would go on this
to
side?
get to 29? If I take 20 and I add 4, what is it?
If I have a 60 something up here, which I do,
9.
can you read it? Did I write it?
20 plus 4 is
Okay,
9?
so
24.
what would go next?
24. Okay, so that's going to be 4 times 6.
9, yeah.
But that's less than
And if
29,
there
right?
wasn't any 60s,
What if we
then you
add
would just
4
leave
to
it
24?
blank. Or put a
8.
0 there.
Mhm, so 28. Is that less than 29?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 7 times 4. What about if we add 4 to 28? What is that going to be?
I think you do too.
Yeah. So what would go next?
32.
Just go
Mhm.
right down the
Is
line
32
of
bigger
numbers.
than 29?
Yeah.
Okay, so it has to
So
be
it would be 7,
4
Lower.
times
8,
7,
9.
which was 28.
7s,
There you go.
8s.
Wait, 7 is.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get very far, did I? So, and if you got clear to hundreds, you just put for 101, say, 105. So you just have to look at that. And if you were, what would this number be? Yeah, but, yeah. And so this way you just kind of know
3.
Mm-hmm.
how many numbers there were.
You're doing awesome, Cruz.
240s, and you know, I'm not a sports person, right? But that's what they were saying, keeping track of
Okay.
scales.
Now, good job. You did
I'm not kidding.
awesome. Now let's work on
That's all I'm
the
using.
test together, okay?
Figure out
Or your
what
quiz.
those
And I'll help you by reading the questions.
That makes sense.